You know that feeling when you're really, really excited about something, like a big win, ready to celebrate, and then suddenly the vibe just shifts.
Oh, absolutely. Like the air goes out of the balloon a bit.
Mm.
That moment you've built up gets, well, complicated.
Exactly. Complicated. And that's kind of what we're diving into today. We got this story from a listener. We're calling her Avery, who put so much effort into a dinner, celebrating a huge promotion.
Okay.
Homemade lasagna, garlic bread, salad, the wine she picked out carefully, even a cake from her favorite bakery. She was really picturing this special night, you know?
So a lot of intention there. This wasn't just a, hey, let's grab pizza thing.
Yeah.
It was planned, symbolic almost.
Totally. But the evening didn't quite go as planned. Not at all, actually. So our mission here is to kind of unpack all that, the family stuff, you know, that need we all have to be seen to get that nod for our hard work.
And what it feels like when you don't get it.
Oh.
When you feel overshadowed,
Yeah.
especially when you're supposed to be the one being celebrated.
Right, and we're going to explore it all through Avery's own account of what happened.
It sounds like a really powerful way to look at these. Sometimes pretty subtle, but very real emotional currents in families.
Okay, so picture this. Avery's place, it's cozy, smells amazing, lasagna, right. Her parents are there, her sister Sarah, a couple of close friends.
Nice intimate gathering.
Yeah, and she tells everyone her news promotion's official. And at first, it's great, exactly what she hoped for. People are happy for her, chatting, celebrating, good energy.
That sounds lovely. That feeling of shared joy, like your success is the group's success too. The planning paid off initially.
Yeah, it really seems like it. But then, the evening's kind of winding down, desserts may be done, coffee's out, and her mom stands up, raises her glass,
Okay.
and she says something like, actually, I have some news too. A bit. Loud, maybe. Avery said she felt this immediate, wasn't this her night?
Yeah. That sudden pivot, it breaks that unspoken agreement about the focus of the evening, doesn't it? Challenges that sense of, this is Avery's moment.
Totally.
Yeah.
And then her mom drops the bomb. Sarah, Avery's sister, she's engaged.
Oh, wow. Okay. Big news.
Huge news. And mom is just beaming. Sarah's looking radiant. Everyone's excited.
Right. Which is understandable. It's exciting news.
But Avery,
Yeah.
she described it like being punched in the gut. She said the room just kind of froze for her.
Yeah.
And she wanted to be happy for Sarah. She really did. But mostly she just felt angry. And the big question in her head was just, why? Why right now?
That's such a key reaction, that feeling of being blindsided. Even happy news can feel like an intrusion if the timing and context feel wrong. You know, like her emotional space was just stepped into.
Yeah. And she couldn't shake this feeling that her mom knew, like maybe not maliciously, but knew it would kind of derail her celebration.
Well, that's the tricky part, isn't it? Trying to
Yeah.
figure out the why behind it. Was it just overwhelming excitement about the engagement? Spontaneity?
Or something else?
Or, yeah, maybe some unconscious thing about balancing attention, or maybe just not fully thinking through the impact on Avery in that specific moment.
Yeah.
It really makes you wonder how tuned in families are to each other's individual moments.
And adding to that feeling, Avery looks over at her dad, sort of hoping for, I don't know, a look, some backup.
Some kind of acknowledgement, yeah.
But he's just detached, calmly sipping his wine, like nothing major just happened.
Oof. That silence or lack of reaction from another key person can really amplify things, can it?
Yeah.
It can feel like your own feelings aren't being validated, like you're alone in seeing it that way.
Definitely. So Avery, she kind of screws up her courage and tries to say something, real hesitant.
Okay.
Mom, she says, I didn't know you were planning on telling everyone tonight. Well, I thought tonight was about my promotion.
Wow, that takes guts in the moment.
It does. But she said she immediately regretted it. Felt like she sounded, quote, whiny, petty, and small.
Oh, that self-criticism is so common, isn't it? Especially when you're voicing disappointment around someone else's good news. There's this pressure to just be happy for them, even if you're hurting. Fear of rocking the boat.
Totally. And her mom's response didn't help. She basically said, well, Sarah got engaged months ago, and she just didn't want to wait anymore. And Avery said it was delivered in this really calm, almost justified tone, which felt like a slap in the face, like her feelings were just being brushed off.
Yeah, that kind of response, focusing on the why I did it, rather than acknowledging the how it made you feel, it lacks empathy in that moment. It can definitely feel invalidating.
Then Sarah pipes up, apparently completely oblivious, asking, Avery, are you okay? I didn't mean to make things weird.
Oh, dear.
And Avery just forces at her, yeah, I'm fine. But, you know, clearly not fine. The tension must have been thick enough to cut with a knife.
Sarah's obliviousness.
Yeah.
Maybe genuine, maybe not. But it highlights how differently people can experience the same moment. In Avery's "I'm fine" classic shutdown to just survive the awkwardness.
So the rest of the night, completely hijacked by wedding talk, engagement rings,
Yeah.
plans, venues.
Oh, Avery's promotion just vanished from the conversation.
Completely. She felt like the spotlight wasn't just shared, it was stolen. She called it the longest night of her life. You
Wow.
can just feel that deflation, right? The joy just evaporated.
Yeah, that's rough. Her moment, the reason for the gathering, just erased. All that anticipation turning into, well, feeling secondary at her own party. That's a tough emotional hit.
So everyone finally leaves. Avery's left there, cleaning up in the quiet, just feeling hollow. Replaying that moment her mom stood up, and that thought just circling, my moment was stolen.
Mm.
It wasn't just about the attention, was it? It felt deeper.
No, exactly. It's about that recognition, that validation from your people,
Mm.
especially family, feeling like your hard work, your achievement was seen and truly acknowledged.
Mm.
Having that yanked away feels, yeah, like a theft of something important.
Then the texts start rolling in later. Sarah sends one, checking in. Avery said that actually made her feel worse, like she was being unreasonable for being upset.
Ah, the guilt trip, even if unintentional.
Right. And then her mom texts an apology of sorts, suggesting they talk the next day.
Okay, an opening there.
But Avery, she just couldn't. She read them and just nothing. Stayed silent.
That's silence. It's often not about anger anymore, is it? It's exhaustion, hurt, maybe not knowing how to even start explaining how deep it goes, needing space to process it all.
Yeah. And the next few days, she goes to work, tries to focus on the new role.
Mm.
But that promotion, it just felt tainted, not as sweet, like something was taken away from the actual achievement itself.
It really shows how interconnected it all is, doesn't it? Our personal lives, our family dynamics, they absolutely bleed into how we feel about our successes, even professional ones. Feeling unseen at home can dim the lights everywhere else.
So fast forward to the weekend, lunch at her parents' place. Avery said she was dreading it.
I bet. Walking back into that dynamic.
On the surface, it's all normal. Dad's casual, hey, mom's trying. But there's this undercurrent, this tension. You know that feeling, the elephant in the room.
Oh, yeah. That strained normalcy when big things are left unsaid, it's incredibly uncomfortable.
But then they do talk, Avery and her mom. And Avery manages to say it really clearly. She says it wasn't just about the announcement itself. It was about feeling invisible in that moment.
Wow. Invisible. That's a powerful word. It cuts right to the heart of it, doesn't it? It's not about wanting to be the star. It's about feeling like you exist, like you matter in that space.
Exactly. And her mom, Avery said she seemed genuinely confused at first, but then it clicked. And she apologized properly. Said she didn't realize how much it hurt Avery and that she was sorry for, quote, stealing her thunder.
Okay, that's progress. A real acknowledgement. That can be huge. Validating Avery's experience.
It was, but then Avery opened up more, said she was just tired of feeling overlooked, like she always had to fight harder to be seen compared to, presumably, her sister.
So this wasn't just a one-off incident. It tapped into a much longer pattern, a deeper dynamic in the family.
Seems like it, which explains why this dinner hit so hard. It wasn't just about lasagna and an announcement. It was about years of feeling a certain way.
That context changes everything. It makes the mother's reaction, Sarah's obliviousness, even the father's detachment, potentially part of a larger system Avery's been navigating.
And her mom's response to that was pretty significant, too. She said, I've never wanted to make you feel that way, Avery, but I see now that I've made a mistake, and I'll try to do better.
That's about as good an apology and commitment as you can hope for in that situation, isn't it? Acknowledging the impact and promising to change.
Yeah. But even after that talk, Avery didn't feel, like, instantly better. The anger faded, but she described this lingering emptiness, a sense that things had shifted, maybe permanently. Not necessarily bad, but different.
That makes sense. Moving from anger to emptiness can be part of the process. It's like the immediate heat is gone, but now you're left contemplating the landscape, the underlying structure of things, reevaluating.
So, the weeks that followed, there was this kind of unspoken understanding with her mom. Her mom did seem to be trying, being more present.
Good. Actions matching words.
Yeah, but Avery still felt like there was more to it. Like the conversation wasn't quite finished, even though they'd talked. That feeling of incompleteness.
Very relatable. Sometimes one conversation isn't enough to unpack years of dynamics. There can still be unresolved feelings or maybe a need for more consistent change over time to really feel secure.
And then Avery had this really important moment of self-reflection. She realized she'd kind of played a part too. By always burying her feelings, by staying silent before, she'd sort of contributed to being invisible.
That's a huge insight. Taking responsibility not for how she was treated, but for her own pattern of response. Recognizing her agency in the dynamic, that's real growth.
Definitely. So this awful dinner, it ended up being the catalyst she needed. It forced her to finally speak up, to confront stuff she'd been swallowing for years.
Sometimes those really uncomfortable moments are the only things that can shake us out of old patterns, right?
Mhm.
The pain becomes a motivator for change.
And things did start to change for her. That promotion started to feel good again, like hers. Her confidence grew at work. She started focusing on working for herself, not for applause.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Shifting that locus of control inward, finding validation from within rather than constantly seeking it externally, that's incredibly empowering.
She even talked properly with Sarah. Sarah apparently felt genuinely bad once she understood. They made peace. Avery admitted she still struggles a bit with, sharing the spotlight sometimes.
Which is honest. Healing isn't always linear. Acknowledging those lingering feelings is part of it. But the connection was being repaired.
Mm-hmm. But the biggest thing for Avery, her key realization, was that the deepest hurt wasn't really the dinner itself. It was this underlying feeling of always being compared, this feeling of never being quite good enough.
Yeah, there it is. The core wound. The dinner was just the trigger that exposed it.
Exactly. And understanding that her worth isn't tied to what her parents or anyone else thinks. That was freeing.
Absolutely fundamental. Separating self-worth from external approval.
Mm-hmm.
That's a life-changing shift in perspective.
She described having this moment just sitting in a coffee shop where it all kind of clicked, understanding herself, her needs better than before.
Those moments of clarity are golden.
And she made a decision. She was going to own her success, be proud, celebrate herself, whether anyone else threw a party for her or not.
Yes, taking charge of her own narrative, her own celebration, creating her own validation.
And then, sort of like a nice little bookend, she got another text from her mom sometime later, just saying she was proud and that she really saw Avery.
Oh, that's like...
Avery said it felt good,
What's
like
it?
real progress. Not perfect, maybe, but progress.
A sign that the effort, the difficult conversation, it was making a difference. That her mom was hearing her and trying.
Yeah. And Avery's final takeaway for herself was this feeling of freedom, realizing she could and would create her own space to thrive on her own terms.
That's such a powerful place to land after such a challenging experience, taking that hurt and turning it into agency and self-determination.
So really digging into Avery's story, it just throws such a clear light on how much it can impact us, feeling overlooked or diminished, especially within our families, even when it's about something happy like a promotion.
It really highlights the need for conscious effort, for empathy, for actually seeing each other within those close relationships. Intentions might be good, but the perception, the impact, that's what lands.
It really underscores how important acknowledging individual wins is and just how tangled up intentions and feelings can get.
Absolutely. And it's a reminder that these feelings Avery had, feeling invisible, hurt, overshadowed, they're valid, even if they're uncomfortable to talk about. Addressing them, like she eventually did, can lead to real growth.
And maybe it makes you think, reflect on our own lives. Are there subtle ways we might sometimes, maybe completely unintentionally, overshadow someone else's moment?
That's a great question to leave people with. How can we be more mindful, more intentional about creating space for everyone to have their moment recognized, celebrated, without feeling like they have to compete for it? Definitely food for thought.